Somewhere not here. In a Viking sea battle at Hjörungavágr, the fierce warrior Thors Snorrason is tired of the killing, and after falling into the sea, he deserts his men. 15 years later, Thors leads a peaceful life in Iceland with his wife Helga, their 15-year-old daughter Ulva, and 6-year-old son Thorfinn. However, Thorfinn longs for adventure and is eager to know more about the world. He dreams of a paradise called Vinland that he hears about from the great adventurer Leif Erikson. One day, Thors takes in a runaway slave. The following day, the slave's master, the brutal Halfdan, arrives at the village demanding the slave be returned. Thors refuses and purchases the slave for the price of 8 sheep. The slave dies shortly after. Sword. In the year 1002, the war between England and Denmark was intensifying, and the English massacre a band of Vikings in Northumbria. A band of Jomsvikings, led by the intimidating Floki, visit Thorfinn's village to enlist Thors in their war against the English. Thors was their former commander, known as the Troll of Jom. He is obliged to join Floki, along with a ship and men, in order to protect the villagers from being taken hostage. Thorfinn and the young men in the village are excited by the prospect of going to war, but they have little understanding of what it is really like. Meanwhile, in the Faroe Islands, Floki conspires with Askeladd to slaughter Thors and his crew once they arrive, as punishment for deserting 15 years earlier. Troll Askeladd, the leader of a band of 100 Vikings, bargains with Floki and demands double the price to kill Thors. Back in the village, the young men buzz with excitement as they prepare for their first battle. Together with 5 men from the village and Leif Erikson's crew, they set sail in 2 ships to meet Askeladd. However, Leif Erikson reveals to a young woman that Thors has no intention of taking the young men to the battlefield. Once at sea, the young men find the going tough, and Thors angrily discovers that Thorfinn has stowed away on the ship. When they stop to rest and resupply in the Faroe Islands, they are caught in a trap set by Floki. One fighter, Bjorn, eats a fly agaric mushroom and prepares to fight Thors alone to test his skill, but Thors jumps aboard their ship and attacks them instead. A true warrior. Thors advances through Askeladd's men, beating but not killing them, until he faces Bjorn, who is in a berserker rage after eating the mushroom. He defeats Bjorn and challenges Askeladd to a duel. After a fierce sword fight, Thors defeats Askeladd, but surrenders to save Thorfinn and his villagers. He is then slain by a volley of arrows. Having witnessed the death of his father, Thorfinn stows away on the captured ship and swears revenge against Askeladd. The troll's son, Askeladd, and his men land in England near the Humber River to resupply, and they pillage a local village. Thorfinn scrambles ashore and during the night prepares to kill the sleeping Askeladd, but cannot do it. Thorfinn trains alone in the woods before emerging to challenge Askeladd to a duel. Thorfinn is easily defeated again, but Askeladd recognizes his strength and promises Thorfinn a chance to fight him again should he prove himself in battle. The journey begins. Askeladd and his men row upriver to Gainsborough, where they find a band of dead Vikings. Thorfinn follows along, sickened by the stench of death in the air. Askeladd strikes a deal with the Danish forces to join their campaign to conquer England for money and spoils. That night, the English attack them, firing volleys of arrows into their camp, killing a number of men before they retaliate. Thorfinn tries to enter the battle and is trapped by an English swordsman, but Thorfinn is saved by Askeladd. Nevertheless, Thorfinn eventually defends himself and kills for the first time an English soldier. Thorfinn joins Askeladd's band, and over the following years he hones his fighting skills. He becomes a ruthless fighter with his short sword, eager for a rematch against Askeladd. Thorfinn is badly wounded while in East Anglia and is rescued by an English girl and her kind mother. However, he later signals Askeladd, whose ships are anchored offshore, and his men land and raid the village. A Normanni, the Danish king, Sweyn Forkbeard, withdraws his troops from England over the winter. With the invasion of England on hold, Askeladd's band set sail for opportunities in France. They offer their services to the Normans, and Thorfinn, now a young man, is sent to negotiate. Their plan goes well, and Askeladd's band loot the treasury of the fort, and Thorfinn delivers the head of their leader to Askeladd. Askeladd finally agrees to honor his bargain to duel with Thorfinn. Beyond the edge of the sea, Askeladd and his men return to the money-hungry feudal Lord Gorm's village on the Jutland Peninsula, with the spoils of their adventures. Thorfinn has a rematch with Askeladd, only to be defeated when Askeladd goads him into making an angry, reckless attack. In the year 1013, the Danish king Sweyn leads an invasion of northern England, with Danish forces and Viking mercenaries such as Askeladd landing near Gainsborough, but they come to a halt at the heavily defended merchant city of London. The Battle of London Bridge. The Danish forces are stopped at the fortified London Bridge, guarded by Thorkel the Tall, a fearsome Dane who is supporting the English. Askeladd offers Thorfinn another duel if he can deliver Thorkel's head. Thorfinn attacks Thorkel, but the giant Viking is too experienced, and Thorfinn has to retreat with his injuries. Arriving at an impasse, King Sweyn leaves his son, the Prince Canute, to maintain the siege with Ragnar, while the rest of the army heads to Wessex. Ragnar's men become impatient with the siege, spurred by the taunts of Thorkel, but he keeps them in check. Askeladd's men are also becoming bored from inactivity, but after they learn that Thorkel has gone in pursuit of Sweyn's army, he renews the assault on London. A gamble. Thorkel continues on his way to catch Sweyn's army with Ragnar and Prince Canute as his hostages, but a group of the Danish army catch up to them and threaten to wipe them out. Thorkel cunningly releases the hostages, but then goads the Danish soldiers into a senseless attack, which they cannot win, fighting at close quarters. Meanwhile, Askeladd starts a forest fire, causing smoke which confuses the combatants, and sends in Thorfinn to capture the prince. Thorkel decides not to waste his men by fighting Thorfinn, and allows him to take the prince. The land on the far bank. Askeladd now has Prince Canute, but he is hotly pursued by Thorkel and his men and sends for reinforcements. They reach the Bristol Channel and are greeted by the Welsh general Gratianus with reinforcements from the Morgannwg kingdom. However, as they reach the kingdom of Brycheiniog, they are surrounded by archers on the hilltops. Child of a hero. In November 1013 AD, Floki reports to the King of Denmark that the Danish forces have defeated the English in Wessex, but he also has to report that Thorkel may have taken Canute. Meanwhile, in Wales, Asser of Brycheiniog blocks Askeladd's passage until Askeladd reveals that he has Welsh ancestry, claiming to be a descendant of King Artorius, and will work to protect Wales when England is defeated by the Danes. Prince Canute cannot bring himself to confront the Welsh, so Askeladd and his men surrender their weapons to receive safe passage through Brycheiniog, appearing as if they are prisoners. At the northern edge of Mercia, they alter direction to join the main Danish army in Gainsborough. The light of dawn. As Askeladd and his men cross northern Mercia, they are caught in early winter snows. Cold and hungry, they come across a village of Christians and pillage it, taking all of their food. They kill the villagers so that no one can reveal their location. The only survivor is a young woman who was in the woods outside the village seeking penitence because of a cheap ring she had stolen at a fair.